Well, Carl, at one stage it looked like wickets were hard to come by, and yet later on in the day they seemed to come at a real pace.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a strange day. I didn't think we bowled particularly well. Personally, I just found in the morning it was actually bouncing quite a bit, and then tried to search for a fuller length, which probably just threw my rhythm off a little bit. But yeah, it was a tough day. Probably the first wicket we've played on this season in 4-day cricket that the margin for error wasn't as big, and there's ones you think, you can normally get away with suddenly going to the boundary. And it is a very tough ground. Once a momentum's with the batsman, it's quite hard to stop. Quick outfield and a shortish side. So, yeah, not the greatest day, but we're in it, and we still think it's pretty good to bat on.
It was interesting watching that first hour. If somebody had said in that first hour that Somerset would get 400, you would have said no way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were probably leaning towards having a bowl this morning, but then having a closer look at it, so we just thought it was very, very dry. So yeah, opting for the toss. But the thought even was there this morning for us to have a bowl. And when we lost the toss with the overhead conditions, and like you said, with the grass on the pitch, we actually thought we could get stuck in. But it wasn't to be. But hopefully now we can bat big tomorrow and get past that follow-on mark and sort of drag it out a bit.
Having not sort of taken the wickets you would have liked this morning, only one before lunch, they got 191 between lunch and tea. Is that because the ball's going soft? What is it?
No, the ball went soft, but there's no excuse to be going at well over fives in a 4-day game. Purely poor bowling. There's no other excuse for it.
Yeah, but you still finished with six wickets, Carl.
Yeah, I did, but you know what? It didn't feel like a good one, if that makes sense. The one against Knights bowling out for 160 really felt like it was an impact. This just felt like a little bit of a consolation. But you know what? I'll take it, because I think there'll be days where I'll bowl a lot better and probably not get any wickets.
And how's Tom Alsop? Because obviously he had to leave the field. Is it hamstring, isn't it?
Yeah, I got a slight hamstring niggle. Should be okay. You will be okay to bat, but I don't think to keep any further in this game.